Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be learning how to make waakye, including the waakye stew. Okay, this recipe is so simple, so if you're a big fan of waakye, then this recipe is for you. For this recipe, I put together 2 pepper mixes that can be used as stew bases and also for steaming your meats. As usual, this is the all-purpose marinade or pepper mix. I just blended this with a little water and oil, and I'm just going to set this aside. It can be used to marinate all proteins for steaming your meat and also for your stew bases. For the green marinade, it has green pepper, spring onions, bell pepper, but this includes fresh rosemary and then fresh parsley. I'm just going to blend this as well with a little water and oil and set this aside. So any of them that you decide to use is all up to you. So I'm just going to be steaming my protein. This is cow meat. I'm going to add my pepper mix to it, and I'm going to add my seasoning. For the seasoning, I always mix my REMIE chicken, REMIE beef, a little MAGGIE cube, and then my natural spices called a Jawari spice. I add in a little water because we are going to build up some stock, and you'd need that stock for the stew later. So it's very important. Now I'm going to steam this for about 35 to 40 minutes so that it can become very soft and tender. In your saucepan, you're going to add in some oil, and then you're going to add in your fresh onions. I blended 2 large onions for this, and I'm just going to add in my stew base mix as well, the one we blended earlier. Waakye stew is normally about your onions and your stew base. It normally has more onions, and it's just perfect for the stew. Now I'm going to allow this to fry, and remember that the method of cooking waakye stew is by frying. We don't boil the stew at all. We fry the stew like we make shito. Now I'm going to add in some tomato paste and continue to fry the stew. Make sure the tomato paste is well fried before you add in your tomato mix contents. So I'm going to just cover this and let it fry for 5 minutes and then add my tomato mix contents. For my tomato mix, I normally blend tomatoes with bell peppers, and before I use it for the stew, I cook it separately so that the water content in it can evaporate, and I get it this way before I transfer it into my stew. You can do it that way, or you can just blend it and pour it into your stew. They would all work for you, but with this method, the stew just cooks faster. Now when you pour that pepper mix into your stew or your tomato mix into your stew, you're going to allow it to continue frying, and this will take about 25 to 30 minutes so that when the stew is well fried, you can add your stock mixture. Like I said, you needed a stock for this. So when you add a stock mixture, you're just going to give this a good mix. Allow the stew to fry. At this point, you want to fry it on low heat, very low heat, so that your stew doesn't burn or anything like that. Okay, so cover it, and then for 5 to 10 minutes, you check on it before you add in your seasoning. And that's how you make your waakye stew. At this point, you just want to season the stew with any seasoning of your choice. I use my same seasonings that I use to steam the meat for the stew as well. Now I'm going to add the meat that you steamed earlier and then mix it with your stew. But before I forget, when you're seasoning this stew, you can add a little bit of shrimp powder to it. It works so well in waakye stew. It tastes so good with it. Now once you add your proteins, just give this a good mix on low heat, please, emphasis on low heat. And then you're going to add in some boiled eggs, because what is waakye stew without it? At this point, waakye stew is ready. You just want to garnish it with some peppers and you're good to go. This stew can be paired with zongo rice, it can be paired with waakye, it can be paired with anything else. But we're going to be pairing our stew with waakye, and so this is how I make my waakye. In your saucepan, you're going to add in your washed beans and then add in some water. Make sure your water is a little bit above the beans because your beans needs to cook before you start cooking the waakye. Just like this. Now you're going to add in your sorghum leaves or your waakye leaves. This is the leaves that we use to make waakye. So once you add it to it, you're going to add a little bit of baking soda. This is for those who like their waakye very deep colored, or you want the color to come in the waakye very much. So just cover it and cook your beans as well as your waakye leaves, and this will take about 30 to 35 minutes because your beans needs to cook at least 80%. Okay, so this is how it looks like, and now we're going to just add in our salt. I use Annapurna salt, and don't forget to join the kitchen moments with Annapurna. Check their page for more details. You can win a lot of things. Now I'm just going to add in the salt to it and then add in a little bit of oil. At this point, you can even use coconut oil if you don't like vegetable oil. All you need to do now is give it a good mix and then add in your rice. This is where personal preference comes in. If you like the waakye very, very soft, then you can increase the water content in it. And if you like the waakye very, very well grained, then you can reduce the water content in it. But then it's cooked the same way rice is cooked. So there's nothing serious from here. Just make sure you steam this rice so that it cooks pretty well. So I'm just going to be covering it with a paper towel, or you can even use a wet napkin to cook this. Cover and let it cook the same way rice is cooked. Okay, that's it. Your waakye will be ready. in about 25 to 30 minutes or even less. Okay, now this is how it looks like. You're just going to mix or give this a good mix. Stir to bring out the ones at the bottom to the top and vice versa. And that's it. Your waakye is ready. You can see how soft my waakye is because that's how my siblings liked it. So I cooked it that way for them. For me, I like single grained waakye. Making waakye and stew is not difficult. So I hope this video helps you and I hope you make the best waakye and stew this weekend. See you in my next video. Bye.